Hello, my name is Brian, and I own a little computer repair shop in South Florida. And so today we are going to be replacing an LCD, a cracked LCD screen in a Sony Vaio. This is the model PCG-71913L. A lot of the Sony Vaios are all kind of the same though, so it's all the same kind of thing. So what we have for tools: 3.5 millimeter magnetic tipped Phillips head screwdriver, a little dental tool looking thing. Sorry, that's my phone here. And a little dental tool looking thing, and a couple of black sticks. These are also known as spudgers. This is a Apple tool, but you can buy these online, eBay or Amazon. I get them in bulk, buy them like 10 in a pack because they do wear out if you do a lot of this kind of work. And this is the thing I developed. It's a little tackle box like little thing that I use to sort my screws, and you'll see I've got labels for all this stuff, and this just kind of keeps me organized when I do full dismantles. Even when I do LCD screens like this, it's a good thing to have, so you can keep your screws organized, you don't drop stuff. Alright, first thing we always do when we're working on a computer is to remove the power source and the battery. I'll set that aside. We don't really need to dismantle a whole lot of this thing. I mean, it's kind of straightforward, but we'll do this together. So open the lid, and we're going to take a look at the things. Usually they put the screws underneath these little rubber bumpers, so I'll use either my black stick or my dental tool to just kind of pry those up and off and peel them off. They have a little bit of rubber cement on the bottom of them. Just be careful not to damage them or damage the bezel around the plastic bezel, because you'll have to replace that if you do that to a client. If it's your laptop, then no big deal. Alright, so we're going to take all four of those rubber bumpers off and put them in our bin, and we've exposed the screws, so we're going to take those out. And the magnetic tip comes in handy because we're not going to lose any screws today, because that stinks when you do that. So the magnetic tip really comes in handy, and if you don't have a magnetic tip screwdriver, it's no big deal. You can make your own. I actually have another video that you can watch that shows you how to magnetize these, any kind of screwdriver. So go look into my video archive there and you'll find it. Okay, all four screws are out. This is where our spudger comes into place. The screen, the bezel just pops off with using the spudger. So because it's a non-marring tool, you can just go rub up right up against the LCD with it, and then just pop it straight off. And it's going to pop out, and you can get down into these little grooves with the spudger and then lift straight up. The whole bezel comes right off. We'll set that aside for now. And then Sony makes it real easy by placing little arrows by the screws that we have to remove. And one thing to keep in mind, most computers now have a webcam, and there's a cable that runs along the back side of the LCD, and they usually glue it or tape it to the LCD, so be very gentle when you pull this away, because you could end up snapping that cable or pulling the webcam out, and you don't want that to happen, because you end up having to replace it. So we're going to pull the four screws out from the bottom hinges here that are holding this LCD in place. And we're going to gently pull this back, and the cable is glued, but it's not real bad. And then we're going to pop this. There is the LCD cable right here is set right in there, and I just pull it straight out, and it's taped. So you just pop the tape off, and it's as simple as that. This is an LED, so the power is routed right through the LCD cable. Okay, so we've got this out, and we have our replacement LCD here. I'm gonna open this up. They don't usually ship these with hinges, and no, they didn't. Or the hinge bezel things, so there's these things that we have to pop off. So we'll go ahead, pull the screws on those, and that's real quick. Put those in our bin, and you'll find that you can do this in a really short amount of time. Oh shoot, I dropped a screw. Well, that happens. The magnetic screwdriver did not hold. That's okay though. We'll find it in a minute. And you'll find that you can do these in like 15 minutes and you get real good at it. So you take that off, and I'll just lay that bezel over there. What I'm doing is I'm going to lay this here, I'm going to pull this one out, and I'm going to lay the other one in the same direction, so when I pull my LCD out I don't have to sit and think about which direction it goes in and so on and so forth. That'll kind of keep us from having to think too much, especially when you do, like, you know, 5 or 6 computer repairs a day and they're different issues. You know, we do a lot of like motherboard replacements, power jack replacements and things of that nature, and eventually it gets a little blended together. Okay, so we'll take our old LCD out, and we're just going to go ahead and put it into place where the other one came out. And you'll see here that we got some tape right here. This is holding the front plastic protector on, and we're going to leave that plastic protector in place because we don't want to scratch the new LCD or LED screen. And then we're just going to replace the screws one by one here. Get your magnetic tip really helps. I'll tell you, it's going to save you when you compound the amount of time that this magnetic tip really saves you in locating drop screws. I know I dropped a screw earlier. That's pretty rare though. And and then not having to hold on to your piece every time with 2 hands and try to keep a little tiny metal screw on a screwdriver tip. When you're able to just set it on there and kind of position your piece, it really is a time saver. Let's get this tape up, otherwise it won't come off. There, and this is the proper way to do it. You know, we're just taking our time. We're not rushing. We're just going to make sure that we get everything in the right spot. Just quickly look for that screw and see if I can find it. Yep, there it is. And one more hinge screw here. Okay. And we're going to take this. This is all set and ready to go. We'll put our laptop back in place. Peel open the screen here. And then we're going to want to connect our LCD video connector back in, and it kind of just slides up and in. Sometimes I'll use the tape as kind of some leverage there to kind of get it all the way up in, and it snaps in, and then we'll re-tape it down. Just using the original tape, it should be fine. And set this back in place here, just like that. Okay. And it'll hold itself in position as long as you don't move it around a lot. And then we are going to take our screws. We have 4 screws that go on the bottom. Go back in place here. And here we go. Getting close here. Sometimes these last 2 screws in this little hinge are a little tricky because you got to get them lined up and they're not quite aligned. because of the way that the screen sits. You just got to be real careful. You don't want to put those in incorrectly. That one went right in. Try this one again. And if you run into that issue, just take your time, loosen the other screw, kind of, so you can move it around a bit. Okay, that's installed. Now we're going to take our cover off, protector, as we're going to reapply the bezel. And if you've never done this before, you may want to turn on the machine just to double check that you did all your connections correctly before you put your bezel on, because if you put it all back together and it doesn't work, then you got to go all the way back through and reconnect your bezel and undo everything again. Okay, just get this all kind of just snaps in place, and that piece. And then we're going to reapply the 4 bezel screws. And then after these bezel screws are put back, then we'll turn it on and make sure it works. Because you never do know that it's possible that you got a bad LCD or something from the manufacturer, from the replacement company. That's been known to happen. And let's see if this has any juice left in it. No, it doesn't. I got a power supply. There we go. Replacement screen. Now all we got to do is put our bumpers back in, and we can deliver this to the client. This is something that every computer shop does. It's not a difficult fix. You know, it should cost probably around $75 to $100 to have the labor done, and somewhere around, you know, the screens. Depending on if you buy the screen or if they buy the screen, but it should be around $100 for the screen, something like that. And you know, it's not a real difficult fix. If you're not technically savvy, you know, don't attempt it. You could do more damage than good to the machine. But if you are technically savvy, I say, hey, go for it. Anyhow, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to my feed. We fixed lots of computers. If you're a computer repair person or aspiring computer repair person, it would be real helpful for you to subscribe so you can kind of learn as we go. Anyhow, thank you so much. My name's Brian, and please subscribe.